Hey, it's going to be a good day here at the Kooky Kitchen. I've made some homemade pico de gallo, and I've made some homemade, that's not the ketchup, that is salsa. I made homemade ketchup too, but it's not out here. And I have prepped for several meals throughout the week. We're going to see if we can stick to that meal plan. I've used things that needed to be used, they didn't go to waste. So basically, if we can stick to this meal plan all week long, we have stopped wasting food this week. I know there's always a little bit of waste, but that's our goal, is to try to take a look and eat what we have on hand and not just keep making food and leaving leftovers in the fridge. So, thanks for being here at the Kooky Kitchen. Come on, travel back in time with this and let's see what we did. What do you do when you clean out your fridge? Do you, take something that needs to be used and use it right away? Do you just say, oh, there's not enough to really use and toss it? I'm never sure what to do. But yesterday was clean out the fridge day. Today is, what can I do with it? So we've got odds and ends of bread that's been in my fridge and they're kind of stale. My fridge is telling me to close the door. No, I do not store potatoes in the fridge, except I baked these yesterday to get ready for today. I've got 2 more to bake off, which I'm going to do this morning. I made some homemade tomato sauce, and I got 4.5 cans. So I'm going to make ketchup with this, because we don't have any ketchup, and we don't eat a lot of ketchup, so we don't need a whole big bottle. This is some cowboy candy I made in a canning class that needs to be used. So we're going to make ketchup. We're going to use up our cowboy candy. This is some salsa. I think it's called jalapeno salsa. But again, I didn't have enough to completely can a whole jar. So that's going to get used. And then I got some grapes. We got plenty of cheese. We got some bell peppers. Who knows what I can do with that. And I think there's one more thing. Yes, I have tomatoes and jalapenos left from making my tomato sauce and my jalapeno salsa. So this needs to get used. So I'm going to make, I think, pico de gallo. So today is going to be prep day. And we're going to make sure we can connect our meals enough that none of this goes to waste, or very little of it goes to waste. But yet we have some really good meals. So where I'm going to start is, like I said, I still have 2 potatoes to bake off. I'm going to bake these at 400 for about probably 70 minutes. They're pretty big. So let me get started. All right, our last 2 potatoes are in the oven, baking at 400. These I'm going to actually cool and freeze, and later in the week, I believe we're going to have loaded baked potatoes. What we're going to load them with might be a surprise, but we'll get to that later in the week. So my next project is dehydrating all these bits and bobs of bread. I'm going to make sure they're not moldy, they don't smell weird. I'm going to get them dehydrated, and I'm going to make breadcrumbs out of them. Simple as that. So I'm going to dehydrate probably about 130 until they're nice and crispy and can just crunch up. So, and this is how I basically load the tray. All right, let me get them in the dehydrator. My next project is to use up my last few tomatoes and jalapenos. I have a homegrown onion. We had to harvest early because I did a reset with my garden. So I don't have a lot of onions, and they're not all that big. And I didn't want to do like 5 small ones, so I'm going to do a medium one and see if that's enough onion. Because I'm going to make pico de gallo for us to use in a meal throughout the week. And this is my favorite chopper. It's one of those where you just pull the string. I love it, love it, love it. It is so easy and easy to clean up. I got it from my mom. I have no idea where she got it. So because my tomatoes and jalapenos have been around for a while, I'm going to check to make sure like that has a spot that's going to have to come out before I even start chopping. So I'm going to start with the onion first. Get me a bowl to put in my garbage and a bowl to put in my pico de gallo parts. Let's get started. Here is my attempt at pico de gallo. Probably could have used less tomatoes or more onion and jalapeno. And I couldn't dice the tomatoes up small enough. I am not a tomato fan. So we'll see how this goes when I go to eat it. I do like pico de gallo, but the tomatoes that you get like from a taco truck or a restaurant are a lot smaller. Again, I don't slice tomatoes because we don't eat tomatoes. We make tomato products, but we usually don't just eat sliced tomatoes or chopped tomatoes. So I'm gonna put this in the fridge, and when we go to use it, I'll let you know. Let me see what's next. All right, I'm about 2 hours into prepping to make things easier next week. I don't always do this, which is why we gotta do a fridge clean out, because we just cook and we get things in there and we forget. So next up is that tomato sauce I canned. I had 2/3 of a cup left. And if you can, you know, you have to have a certain headspace or a certain amount between your contents of your jar and the lid, and that didn't cut it. So can't can it. So what do? I think I am going to make some homemade ketchup. I'm going to try. My potatoes are cooling. I still need to take my tomato junk out to the chickens. And I took out 2 packages of ground beef because I know one night we're going to have cheeseburgers with a surprise, and one night we're going to have quesadillas, so that we can use up our little bits and pieces of the jalapeno salsa, the pico de gallo that I made today, and our homemade ketchup. So let me get all the ingredients in the pan and see if I can make ketchup. All right, so we've got 2/3 cup of my homemade tomato sauce, a tablespoon and 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon of brown sugar, 2/3 teaspoon onion powder, 1/3 teaspoon garlic powder, 1 teaspoon salt, 1/8 teaspoon black pepper, 1/8 teaspoon mustard powder, and 1/8 teaspoon paprika. I had the Hungarian hot, so I used it. If it has a little kick, so be it. We're going to stir this up and bring it to a gentle simmer, and then we're going to simmer 20 to 25 minutes. I hope it turns out good. We're at a simmer, so now we're going to simmer about 20 minutes. It's supposed to thicken somewhat, then we're going to cool it. We might taste, but the recommendation is to let it refrigerate overnight and then to taste it. So we'll see, but we got 20 minutes to go. All right, this is 15 minutes. And I'm going to say that 2/3 cup has probably cooked down to about half a cup. My pan stayed really hot for a while, so I'm just going to leave it on the stove. And we're going to let it continue to do its thing. And we're going to let it cool. I think our next project is potatoes. All right, our baked potatoes have cooled. We're gonna wrap them in foil and put them in a Ziploc bag, and we're gonna have loaded baked potatoes sometime next week. Perfect time for me to remind you to subscribe so you can see us cook that meal. We know we are going to have some type of taco burrito. We're thinking more like quesadillas maybe, because we do a lot of burritos. So I know I'm gonna need some taco meat or quesadilla meat. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the taco meat ready and put it in the fridge. I'm going to take out some of my homemade refried beans, let them start defrosting. So when we go to have quesadillas, we just have to warm and assemble. We will see how much easier next week is once we do all this. But like I said, I never do this. It is one dinner at a time. You know, I try to, but it doesn't happen. So this time we're going to really try to stick to it. It just seems like something always happens during the week when we have meals planned that we don't do that meal. And then we're scrambling to get things used up, and we do it in different ways just to get them used up. So I am going to start frying up this hamburger meat. The ground beef is browning nicely. The onions I used it's a mix of onions and bell peppers that I have in the freezer that I need to get used up. Maybe it'll give it a little bit of fajita flavor. Who knows? All right, taco seasoning in. We're just cooking some of that liquid out, and then we'll cool it so we can put it in the fridge. All right, yippee-ki-yay, Kyle's home, and we're going to start our potatoes, and he's going to do them. The first thing we're going to do is slices, and it seems pretty easy. There was a little bad spot there, so I cut it out. All right, let's get those two sliced and in a bag that's labeled. 2 potatoes that are already baked. We're not blanching. We've sliced them. We're going to put them in a Ziploc bag, freeze them, and we're going to come back and see how well they stand up to this process. All right, we're coming right along with our cubed potatoes. Same thing. We're going to put it in a Ziploc bag labeled. We're going to freeze it, and we're going to use it and see if it stands up to the method of baking first so you don't have to blanch. Okay, now we're shredding, and this does not seem to work as well. The potato seems to be disintegrating. However, there are shreds. The peeling is just coming off. So we're going to go ahead and finish up and get them in a bag labeled and get them in the freezer for later use. Okay, let's wind up for the day. If I don't count my breaks, I've done about 3.5 hours work. We have baked potatoes for our loaded baked potatoes in the week. We've got cubed, we've got sliced, we've got shredded potatoes. We've got ketchup, homemade ketchup. We've got homemade pico. We're dehydrating our bread. It's almost there. And we're ready for dinner because we're going to make quesadillas probably so we can use our pico de gallo. And that's it, folks. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see how we lay out our meals for the week, and let us test to see if this really does a better job for us to get through things that need to be used. Stay on track, you know what I mean? Thanks for hanging out here with the Cookie Kitchen. This has been another pantry party with me and Kyle. Please subscribe. We'd love a thumbs up. And we will see you next time here at the Cookie Kitchen.
Don't forget to comment.
Oh, don't forget to comment. Stay kooky, my kitchen friends. Bye.